I was forever struggling with the fact that I had to have an education. So they were sent me to a nun's cloister to keep up my education, but I hated it because I thought it makes no sense. I can be dead any minute because you saw your friends die.
Right.
Why should I study?
Right.
And I thought, she does such an adult crazy thing. Why can't they let us live while we live?
Right.
Instead of studying.
Especially being 14 years old.
And on a hungry stomach because there was no food.
That I'd like to bring up. What was the type of food that you had available to you? There wasn't any, but what was available to you? I mean, I've heard stories, having spent time in the Netherlands, people were eating tulip bulbs.
That's true.
That was true.
Yeah. And I hated beets so much. At the end of the war, everything was made from beets. Jam.
Yeah.
Jam, beet
Whatever you
jam.
could make.
It was horrible because they didn't waste anything anymore. So these long things were hanging on the beets.
Wow. Wow.
It
Did
was
you
awful.
actually
But it was
see,
food.
would you see conflict between the shooting and fighting actually taking
yeah.
place?
Yes,
And,
a whole lot of that.
Was that adventurous to you as a young person or scary?
Well,
Or both?
You see, we were not allowed to be on the streets. So every night there was thousands of planes come over Nijmegen just to get into the fatherland. And then, we had the air raids going. But sometimes we started to go upstairs and look anyway, because it's better to see what's going on than hiding
Right.
and not knowing. But you were not allowed. And at one point, we saw that huge, big plane. We didn't know what the name of it was, because we knew all the sounds of the motors. We know, even children knew it was in
B-17 or B-51
or German,
Messerschmitt, yeah.
whatever they knew as kids. That's what war kids.
Right.
And so we saw this huge big thing, and we called it a flying tank. It had no name. It turned out to be the B-17, the flying Ford.
Yeah, the famous B-17.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some still flying today.
Yes.
I think you met some of the pilots or something.
That's
Some of
right,
them
I met one.
Still alive. God bless them. Well, when we say dancing in bomb shelters, was there a bomb shelter that you guys did go to or run
Yeah,
to?
there
Or did
is
you
a-
have your own little place where you...
I have a picture in one of my, yes, but the boss in the office where I worked was a big bomb shelter underneath the buildings. And I was told to do the telephone service. And then what happened was, it was the only contact you had with the outside world. So it was a very important job. And then afterwards, now in these bomb shelters, underneath the building, I had to answer the phone. That was my job in that office. So every time there would be the signal coming that there was a group of planes coming in, and we never knew if this plant would be bombed.
What was that plan? Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, this is what they gave me. This is what's happening.
That's what you
since the
remember.
book.
Yeah. since
But
the
this
book.
is not for me. The plant has picked up on my book, and is starting their own thing in it.
Gotcha. That's great.
So they found some pictures of me. And
That
my
is so
sister.
great.
And so, see, it is like a book being made from another book.
Right.
See, tap dancing.
That's you?
That's me, and that's my sister.
Oh, wow. Your sister lives here or in the Netherlands?
No, she lives in the Netherlands. And this is me in another show. They have all these pictures in the archive that they dug up. That is the three of us, three sisters.
That's my mom's family, 3 sisters.
Yeah. And this is me singing. I sang with the band for about 7 years. I sang with the Marines, and that was the Smith band. And this is nothing much, but see, I was in the show. They pick things out of the archives that I was in, which is kind of interesting. They're making a book from a book.
So in this book, it talks about mainly what are you focusing on?
The family, the struggle, the real struggle, how to find food.
Okay.
Like, it was extremely difficult. My mother would have to give her wedding rings to the farmers, anything of value, porcelain, name it, Persian carpets, whatever they could use. whatever she had to trade for a loaf of bread.
Wow.
It gotten that bad. So I started to hate the Germans. They did. The farmers too. But yet, in reality, a lot of the farmers had taken in Jewish children,
Right.
had taken a lot of people in that were hiding from the Germans. And we had several times house searches because we would hide Jewish friends. And somehow we've never known who told the Gestapo, we never knew. But we had several house searches, which weren't very nice.
No.
And another time I got slapped really hard by a German SS officer because they were showing a movie of the disastrous Dieppe when they invaded Dieppe, the city at the coast of France.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah,
it was
no.
a sort of a mist thing,
Okay.
and it came from England.
Misfire.
Yeah, and so the Germans showed how the Allied had lost so many people, and there was one plane shot by the Allies, one German plane, and I yelled, "Hooray!"
What?
Not knowing that there was two Waffen SS officers sitting behind me. They slapped me so hard that I for years had a concussion. And my whole mouth was open.
Yeah, I'd like
on
to
the
talk
inside.
about that. That's something dangerous.
Oh, you couldn't move your head.
See, what I'd like to get at is the truth, and see, you're telling me the truth. There's so many times that we as Americans, or as time goes on, people want to forget, or they sugarcoat it. Oh, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't, well, it was bad, and it did happen.
Yes, it did.
And I see in our society today in America, it's one of the biggest problems we have is we're trying to sugarcoat things. Even today with Obama, our own city government, no one wants to tell the truth because no one can handle the truth. We haven't taught our kids to have a backbone. We have a wishbone. I wish for this, I wish for that. And these type of things is very important that you say like it is.
Yeah, and it's very honest written. And also what we did, that is something else. It shows you the mind of a teenager. We were always looking how we could pester the enemy. Groups of kids would hide in cells.
Brave, yeah.
And then we would take a thin wire from one side to the other on the main streets of Nijmegen. It's not a small city. And then we would wait till somebody with all these fantastic things on them, some SS big shot, and then we would lift the wire, and they would fall flat on their face because the wire would hook on the steel knobs under the boots.
Oh, that's so funny.
And we had to run. I mean, dumb things.
That's funny, yeah. Well, you're fearless at that time.
Yeah, and you also are fearless because you don't know if you're going to live.
And you want them out of there.
Yeah, and you don't know if the next minute you might be dead.
Right.
So the boys came up with this I have to tell you, this to me.
Yeah, bring it. Oh, I'm sorry. Golly, you're sitting.
Just didn't want to stop a good moment.
This will be good, like we're drinking as we're talking.
Yeah. But I have to tell you what the boys dreamt of. The boys in my group, thank you so much,
Thank you.
16, 17, 18, they would take potatoes and they would make rye in the gutter. They made it alcohol in the gutter.
Distilled it in the gutter.
Yes, in the gutter.
Pretty inventive, right, minds, right?
Yeah. And then they had this lady that had a whole collection of fancy old bottles that she kept because she had a hotel once. So they would get all these fancy bottles for her. They bottled the stuff, and then they would go to the German hierarchy, and they were always looking for snobs and things.
Right.
And they would sell these bottles for big black market money and then run off. Then they would wait outside, and within 15 minutes, they would come out screaming that they were blind.
Scared.
Blind.
They can't
The
see.
Germans couldn't see. The stuff was
Bad.
bad and bad. It was never easy.
Was it killing them? Were they really blind?
They were really blind.
Blind for good?
Yeah, they yelled, but they were blind. They couldn't see.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so then the boys figured they had done a fantastic job bringing a new weapon.
Yeah, this is a secret weapon.